Brian Flores met with the media. He said some very good tidbits, so we're going to talk about that. One of you guys asked me a very good question about contracts, and we're going to talk about that. What is up, Finn fans? Yes, Brian Flores today met with the media. His pre-free agency meet and greet, and that's not even what I want to say. Press conference, Doug. Come on. Before we jump into the video and before I shout out Patch Vibes, patchvibes.com. I'm just doing it now. Be sure to get yourself some great patches. I got a whole stack of patches here. You got Marino. Bam. Tua. Bam. Old logo. Newer logo. I'm pretty sure they're going to be doing the new logo. And Shula. 20% off. Use the promo code DDW. Other thing I want to talk about, you might be like, Doug, wow, you sound like blah. Why do you sound the way you do? Are you sick? Two things. One, no, I'm not sick. I just woke up probably about an hour ago. This is what I sound like when I wake up. Having a baby puts you to bed at 5 o'clock a.m. So yeah, I woke up about an hour ago. Two, 70 degrees in New Jersey. For you Floridians, you probably like 70 degrees. It's like, that's what it's like all right. Yeah, 70 degrees here in New Jersey. Flowers are starting to bloom. And if you've been rocking with this channel for a long time, you know your boy's got horrible allergies. So I'm already starting my medication, but I sound like doo-doo. You're going to have to just do me sound like doo-doo. But let's jump into this. Brian Flores met with the media today. Had a lot of tidbits. I got the transcripts in front of me. I'm going to tell you what he said. We're going to talk about it. And then, like I said, it's comment of the day, which is a very good comment. And with free agency coming up, I thought, I tried to. I'm doing it again. Or I'm just get into it, Doug. So essentially, he came out. His opening statement was talking about Chris Greer and what their plan is and what they're doing. He also made it official with the dual OCs with Studsville, Godsey. So it's official now. Those are two offensive coordinators, but he did not say who's calling the plays. He did not make that call yet. They also asked him about Isaiah Wilson. They said, I want to get some clarity on Isaiah Wilson move. I know he's not, well, you can't talk about him because he's not on your team, correct? And he said, can't talk about him. Correct. The reason why he's not on the team yet, he can't talk about him, is for one, the trade has not happened until Wednesday the 17th. Two, he has to pass his physical to be on the team. So as of right now, the Isaiah Wilson thing is essentially a proposed agreement, but until Wednesday and until he passes his physical, he's not a Miami Dolphin. In terms of play calling on game day with the coordinators, that he asked who will be, handling it. Is it going to be upstairs? Will it be collaborative effect? He says definitely collaborative. That's something we talked about in those are kinds of ongoing discussions. So we have, I wouldn't say cemented a way of how we're going to do it, but I think, and I always just thought this just from a play calling standpoint, a lot of that, the legwork is done during the week. He says, I know George, Godsey, Eric, Studsville. George, he calls plays in the past. Eric was with COVID. We had the situation where we had to have a backup at every position. If you guys noticed, I think it was 1 or 2 games, some of our coaches were not there, and we ended up winning those games. So Eric was preparing to call games if something happened to Chan Gailey the entire year. I think both guys are equipped to do it, and we are not cemented on, hey, we're going to do it like this. But I think we'll figure out a way that collaborates, but at the end of the day, puts our team in the best position to have a successful offense. So essentially, we don't know what we're doing yet, but Godsey has called plays, I think I said, with the Houston Texans, and Eric was prepared, Studsville was prepared to call plays. God forbid something happened to Chan Gailey, and he was not able to call plays. So both of them are ready to call plays. Asked about Ryan Fitzpatrick, they said, where do things stand regarding quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick? If he's not going to be your backup, what sort of backup are you looking at to be, whether a veteran, a young guy to mentor to, and so forth? He says, specific to Fitz, Obviously, we have a lot of respect and admiration for him. I think a lot of us Dolphin fans and even Jet fans, Bills fans, Ram fans, all of us have that. He's tough, he's smart, he's competitive. He loves to play, he's really embodies all the characteristics we're looking for here. Honestly, we'd love to have him back, but I think this is a very unique year from a cap standpoint. He talks about the cap and he talks about a bunch of things that I kind of reiterated back when I started talking about free agency and stuff that I'm going to talk about again because he even brings it up. Obviously, we just had the cap number set yesterday, so the conversations are fluid. But yeah, we're looking for somebody with those characteristics in the backup quarterback position. Someone who is smart, someone who we feel like hopefully this doesn't happen, but if he had to go in, we could still win a ball game. There's a few guys out there that we've taken a look at them all, and we're still kind of putting the plan in place, honestly, with this just kind of setting the number yesterday. Those meetings are kind of ongoing, and a couple with numbers of release that are happening really on a day-to-day basis. We're almost ranking on a daily basis. So essentially he's saying that with the numbers and how things are happening with Avante David and with people getting tagged and all that stuff, they're constantly moving things. All right, well, we were interested in these guys, but now we don't feel like trading for them. So we're going to move things around and do all that stuff. So he said he wants to have Fitz back, but it doesn't seem like it's an option right now. Again, with the cap space. And he says this at some point in the press conference that you can't always get what you want. He wants to play that song on free agency when free agency starts and the negotiations happen. And I said this to you. I said, don't expect the Dolphins to do big, splashy moves. Don't expect them to run out there and get an Aaron Jones. Don't expect them to go out there and when Allen Robinson wasn't franchise tagged, a lot of you guys want. I said, don't expect that because the Dolphins are probably going to be bargain shopping. And he kind of addresses that. I'll get to that point, right? Then again, they're going to talk about Tua. They're going to talk about Deshaun Watson. You've talked to us a couple months ago with the season ending about the quarterback situation and quarterback Tua. There's been a lot of speculation since then on whether it would be quarterback Watson, whether it be draft. All these things regarded. Has the time since the season strengthened change or impact your view on Tua heading into the season? That's what they asked him. It's a very long question they asked him. He says that I'm excited about Tua in this upcoming season. I think when you think about his situation last year coming off the hip injury, we kind of threw him in the fire in week 7 or week 8 against, and this is me saying this, against the number 1 defense in the NFL, the Rams. And he did pretty well. Did he have spectacular numbers? Did he throw for 4,000 yards this year? Did he do no. But that game against the Rams, a lot of people look and go, he barely broke 100 yards against the number 1 defense. First game ever. I think he did pretty well. I'm not sure exactly what week it was. He started 9 games. I thought he made a lot of improvements throughout the course of the season. He had some ups. He had some downs. Like all the rookies, like any rookie. I'm really excited about this. The year 1 to year 2 jump and being more comfortable even down here in South Florida. He's got a place, so now he's officially living in Florida. That rookie year, you're going a lot going on. You've got a lot going on. You've got to get a house. You've got to get a car. You got to move to a whole new city. There's so many things going on. I thought he handled it well last year, but I'm really excited about this upcoming year, especially again, he had no OTAs, a different training camp. You guys know me. I'm all about development of players and helping them develop and helping them get better. I think this time or an off season is really going to be helpful to him and really all the rookies. I'm excited about working with him this off season. I've said that time and time again, and I get people saying he's just making up excuses, but the head coach is literally saying it. Not only did he not have OTAs, he did not have a mini camp, he barely had a training camp, but the whole entire offseason he was rehabbing. A lot of people want to compare because they got drafted together, Burrow, Herbert, and Tua, right? Well, Herbert threw for 4,000 yards. He won Rookie of the Year. That's fantastic. He had a fantastic year. I'm not going to take that away from him. He also didn't have to rehab his entire offseason. Same thing with Joe Burrow. They were getting ready from jump. As soon as their season ended, they were getting ready for the combine, getting ready for the draft, and getting ready for the season. Tua, on the other hand, was rehabbing. The fact that this kid had a career-threatening injury and less than a year later was on the field and playing well, it's just a testament to how determined this kid is to get better. And I honestly think he will get better. The fact that he keeps talking about the year 2 jump, he's looking forward to working with him and all this stuff. Am I saying that it's going to put a kibosh and an end to Deshaun Watson? No, anything could happen, but it's a really good endorsement for Tua. They ask him, when you see the endless speculation, not just here but around the country, about the trade for a veteran quarterback to replace Tua, what is your reaction when you hear and see that speculation? And what should Tua's reaction be? This is what Brian Flores said. My reaction is I'm excited to work with Tua. I think I just mentioned that after the last question. It's getting a little spicy. That's where my interests are, and that's where my excitement is. I think he's, again, like I said, I think he's a talented player. I think we're here believe in developing players at all positions. I think the offseason with the OTAs, more reps, more repetition, like any player, I think they develop and get better. I think he feels the same way. Tua and I had lunch yesterday, and we talked about his family, and I think a lot of what that is, that developing is about building a relationship. He's doing well. He's confident. I'm confident in him. I'm looking forward to this offseason. I understand how the NFL works, and I understand how he could say this and then boom, trade him, right? And I understand that 100%. But that right there, that quote right there, just for me, and again, I've said this time and time again, if the Dolphins trade for Deshaun Watson, cool. Top 5 quarterback. He's going to elevate this team. He's a really good quarterback. But if they build off of Tua, that's kind of what I want them to do, and I kind of what I see them doing, and especially after that quote, it really seems like they're going to build around Tua, and it really seems like Brian Flores understands how to develop players. We've seen it. We've seen him develop a lot of players, taking Eric Rowe, putting him at safety, and really developing him and making him a really good safety. It really makes it seem like Tua's not going anywhere. Just from that quote. I know not a lot, but I know a good amount of you guys want Deshaun Watson, and every time I talk about Tua or any type of free agent, you just comment Deshaun Watson in the comment section. But how, after listening to that, do you still think that they're going to go for Deshaun Watson? I know you're going to comment below, but it just reiterates that Tua is his guy. Then they ask him, essentially, they talk about evaluating talent. How aggressive are you going to be at getting Tua some weapons? He says you always want the most talent you can get, the most playmakers offensively, defensively, and in the kicking game. He's a full head coach, not just offense, defense. But at the end of the year, you don't need 11 stars. You need 11 guys, 11 teammates who will work together and have one goal in mind. And that's really what we're looking for. Yeah, we want talented players, but we want good, cohesive unit and guys who will fit together. That's not always 11 stars. It's almost never that way. So we've scoured free agency, the draft, and I think we have a pretty good feel for the type of guys we're looking for from a skills standpoint, but also from a locker room standpoint as people as well. I think that's important. That's an important factor that we can't overlook. All of the things play a role, but we want to improve really in as many areas as possible, all 3 sides of the ball. Again, don't expect the Dolphins to go out and make big, splashy moves. Even if Allen Robinson didn't get franchise tagged, I didn't think the Dolphins were going to go after him. I still don't think the Dolphins necessarily are going after Aaron Jones. I don't see them going out making big, splashy moves. Flores doesn't need to do that. Yes, they did it with Byron Jones, but Byron Jones fit the criteria of what Brian Flores is looking for in a corner. They really didn't do it with anyone else. Emmanuel Ogbah didn't get a big contract. Shaq Lawson didn't get a big contract. Fedulum didn't get a big contract. Roberts, Gruger Hill, they all didn't get big contracts. They were really good, sound guys that can help this team. And they did. We won 10 games. So I understand where he's coming from with that. Then they ask him how last year we had a ton of cap, and we went off and, like I said, signed a ton of people. He says this year doesn't seem that way. Has it changed? And he says this is a very unique year. We don't have some money from a cap standpoint that we can spend, but again, it's an interesting year. I think I'm going to be playing that song, You Can't Always Get What You Want. Again, don't expect them to be a big spender on day one in free agency. To be honest with you, because we may get priced out on some guys we're looking at that we've liked to have. Again, guys, they might want to go for Lindsley, but if somebody offers another $5 million over where the Dolphins want to, Lindsley's not coming to Miami. Aaron Jones, there might be a mutual interest, but if the Dolphins offer them like $9 million a year and a team comes back and offers him $14 million a year, adios, muchacho. We'll just draft a running back. So again, we have our heart set on certain free agents, and then when we don't sign them, we sign someone else. That's when people get upset and say, "Oh, this team sucks. This sign sucks." Like he said, you can't always get what you want. They may just want to go elsewhere. So I think we're going to try to do the best we can. We've had multiple meetings about this. Again, I would say just getting the cap number yesterday kind of sets the stage for us to at least say we're going to have this. We can do this, and this. So again, the fact that they just got the cap yesterday kind of screwed up everything. So I can see where he's coming from. Then they ask him about the third overall pick. He says, anytime you pick third, there's a number of players, a number of ways you can go. Again, our scouting staff, like I said earlier, I think they've done a really great job as far as narrowing down who the top players are in this draft. We have a pretty good idea of who those are. I think everyone or most people who are kind of analyzing it know who those players are. We have an opportunity to grab one of them in at least let's get it in the top 10. But obviously we have that type of pick that a lot of other avenues can go. Trade back. I think we'll explore those, and we're fortunate the way, and hopefully we can take advantage of it. See if we said top 10? I honestly think the Dolphins are going to trade back. I really think the Dolphins are going to trade back. Then they talk about Tua and the continuity, kind of the familiarity with the language and working with Godsey and Studville and having that, even bringing in Charles Fryer, the experience having that quarterbacks coach, they ask him, how is that going to help Tua? He says, I think the continuity is a big thing for me I think the continuity was a big thing as far as for me and making that decision. I think I wanted that for Tua and really a lot of the young offensive line and the young players we have offensively. I feel like we had that as well as the acumen and the experience with George Godsey and Eric Studesville, and kind of taking on that role. As far as blending the two thought processes or philosophies, I would say you mentioned Eric in the run game and George in the pass game. I think both of those guys are strong just offensively, defensively. It doesn't surprise me or really anyone on the staff, but it may surprise you guys when I say Eric is skilled or knowledge in the pass game and the protection game and the drop back game, and George is equally as skilled in the run game and the protection game. Essentially saying they both have their certain expertises, but they also can cross over and have the others. Both guys, as far as exactly sure how long it's been since we've announced that, have gotten in that direction. Both those guys, as far as blending all of that, that's happened through conversation, which would have a lot of conversation. Again, this is really kind of what terminology we're going to keep same versus not the same. So essentially, it's going to be the same style of offense, but the terms might be different. A lot of it is tied into what we feel is best for the players and Tua specifically. An overall offensive philosophy and how that works in conjunction with obviously our defense and special teams. The fact that this man said, again, this is the kind of terminology that we're looking to keep, and a lot of it is tied into what we feel is best for the players and Tua specifically. It's going to get spun. He talks about the Heat too, and he talks about how he was laying in bed watching the Heat game when all of this COVID change happened last year. And then that's how he ends the press conference. It's like, Jesus, Brian. But the fact that he said Tua specifically, it's like I said, the people are going to spin it still. He says this, but it doesn't mean that he's not going to do it. And yeah, of course, he could say till he's blue in the face, I'm not going back to college. And then he goes back to college. But difference is Brian Flores isn't that type of guy. Brian Flores, I don't remember Brian Flores saying no, and then boom, it happening. Normally, when that happens, he says, well, we'll see. We'll see. We're looking at it. He's mentioned Tua multiple times. He's had lunch with Tua. He literally said the terminology specifically for Tua. I don't know. I might be looking too far into it, and I tried not to do that, but it just, the way he's talking, the way he talked about the cap space, the way he talked about not going out and getting a ton of players because of the cap space. You also need about 12, 15 million for draft picks. It just doesn't seem like they're moving on from Tua. He talked about having lunch with him. He probably had lunch with him to kind of settle things and make him feel better. That, listen, don't listen to the media. Don't listen to all this crap that people are saying. You're going to be our guy. Just work hard and just ignore it. This kid's going to have a huge chip on his shoulder. But I honestly don't see Tua going anywhere. I loved what Brian Flores had to say about not only Fitz, because we all love Fitz, but Tua, the way that the coaching staff's going to work, the way he's addressing free agency. It's going to be very interesting. We all predict certain players. But if you guys notice, if you go back, I had like Curtis Samuel as a wide receiver I want, Hassan Riddick, all these guys that aren't top name free agents, but kind of B-level free agents that really could help this team. If you want to go back and watch that video, you'll see what I'm talking about. But don't expect them to be big, splashy day one buyers. He even said that. But watch them be day one big, splashy buyers, and all of a sudden we're like, but wait a minute, you said. Even watch them trade for Deshaun Watson, and all of a sudden we're like, wait a minute, you were talking Tua up. But again, I don't see it. But I could be wrong. And I'll own up to when I'm wrong. But be sure to comment below. What do you think about this press conference? What do you think about what Brian Flores had to say specifically about Tua, specifically about free agency, about Fitz, about all that stuff, the co-OCs? Comment below. And then we get to one of your guys' comments of the day. This comment is from Danny. And Danny asked me questions. So if a player makes $10 million annually and the contract is negotiated to pay the player $5 million in 2021 and the other $5 million in 2022, for cap space reasons, if a player suffers a career-ending injury in 2021, does he get the $5 million in 2022? And I picked this comment, and I kind of tried to explain it to him, but it's better for me to explain it verbally like this. And being that free agency is going to be starting next week, I said to him, I'm just going to make this comment of the day because I didn't know if I explained it well enough. He's asking a very good question, and I wanted to talk about this because a lot of people might not understand the way these contract works. Whenever you see free agents get signed, you might see them sign a 5-year, $115 million contract. And you're thinking to yourself, geez, this man's getting $30 million a year? Don't look at the total number. He might sign a 5-year, $150 million contract, but $60 million is guaranteed. Look at that number. Look at the guaranteed number because that's what he's guaranteed to get. That's why Kirk Cousins' contract was so groundbreaking because he got a fully guaranteed contract that never happens in the NFL. I think his contract was the first to happen. You want to look at guarantees. That's where the money is. That's where, if you notice, certain players will have like 2 years, $40 million left on their contract, and they'll get cut and they'll get none of that money because they already got paid their guarantees. They signed a 4-year, $80 million contract, $40 million guaranteed. Then they got 2 years left, $40 million. They get cut, they get nothing because they already got paid their guarantees. That's where it's kind of messed up because there's people out there that say, like, when a player wants a new contract or something, well, you signed it, you should honor your contract. The owners never honor their contract because you'll sign a contract for $150 million. You won't get that $150 million. Because God forbid anything. God forbid you get older. God forbid you're still playing at the same level, but they just a younger, better guy comes out. They'll cut you, and you won't get your $150 million because of the way the contract is. So yes, players asking for a new contract because they perform better or whatever. Honor your contract. Well, the owners need to honor their contract, and they never do. Also, there's different parts of the contract. There's incentives. So someone could sign a contract 2 years. $10 million with incentives to make it $20 million. Incentives could be making the Pro Bowl, throwing for a certain amount of yards, rushing for a certain amount, getting a certain amount of tackles, the distance that the team makes. There's also workout bonuses. It kind of helps you to come to camp, work out, get into shape. There's those things. There's also signing bonuses. And essentially that comes straight from the owner. So the owner, like say we want Byron Jones to reduce his cap hit this year, the owner will give him a signing bonus. We'll give you a signing bonus of $30 million. So all of a sudden $30 million comes off his contract, or we'll give you a signing bonus of 10. It'll knock it off the contract. They also can reposition it. You could see we sign Yannick Ngakoue, right? 4 years, $150 million, right? And you're like, wow, that's a lot of money per year. But you got to look at the way the contract is. That could be a lot of money per year, but we'll only pay him $5 million this year. And we'll spread the rest out throughout the next 3 or 4 years when we know we'll have more cap space because pieces will be moved or certain players will become free agents. That's also, you have to look at it, right? You'll see these contracts and you'll think they're ridiculous, but you have to look at the terminology, and you go to Spot Track or you go to Over the Cap and you look at where their cap hit is throughout the year. Because I think Devontae Parker's, at first, he signed a new contract. Everyone was like, that's a lot of money. But you notice the first 2 years of that contract wasn't that much. Next year, it's going to be a lot. But the Dolphins can cut him after this year and not take a big cap hit. I think it's like $3 million. But his cap hit when he's on the team is more. Terminology on contracts are ridiculous. If you guys want me to make a full video and show you things and break it down, comment it below and I'll go more into detail. But Danny, I hope that helps you understand it. I hope it helps all you guys understand it. But that is the video. Made this one early. I got to run, take the baby to the doctor, her weigh in, see how big she got, and then it's a beautiful day here. We might go for a walk or something. If news breaks, though, of cuts, re-signings, all that stuff, I will make a video later tonight. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Be sure to check out Miami Sports Music, fantastic website, YouTube channel. Me and TD are part of. Solo D, you know the spiel. Go check them out. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Like usual, stay classy. Fins up.